What are your long-term plans on reselling? So long-term plans, I'm kind of moved into my long-term plans already. So initially for beginners, and this is true for myself as well, this is how I approached it too, that's why I recommend it to other people this way, is I kind of started in like coupon, cashback, and a little bit of liquidation here and there, right? And then I slowly moved into more of the scalable businesses with Amazon. So you're talking about like a little bit of liquidation selling on Amazon, books, some retail website sourcing with software that way, as well as wholesale, right? That's really my end game, hopping into wholesale, but I still do books, I still do retail website sourcing a lot, and I still source a lot of liquidation here and there and some cashback and coupon here and there to resell on sites like Poshmark, eBay, and Mercari. So that's really my main goal. I don't really see it changing too much. It's definitely going to change, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But ultimately, nothing's really changing like my strategy wise right now. I'm just scaling up. I'm focused on selling, buying and selling quality products that are going to make me profit. And ultimately, I'm not planning, to be perfectly honest, I'm not planning on scaling it up to like this full-time business that's making hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, right? I enjoy a lot of creating content, and that's why I do it. And I also enjoy reselling, but I don't plan to resell, or I don't plan to scale my reselling business up significantly. It's something that literally just makes me like 5 to 10 grand a month on the side for extra cash flow, and that is why I love it. Now, don't get me wrong, you can scale it up, but I don't personally like to scale it up. It's a lot of hands-on work with a lot of things. It's a lot of sourcing. And so I found that sweet spot where like I don't really need to put that much effort in. I can leverage software, I can leverage Amazon, and I can leverage, kind of the inventory system I've already built for my own fulfillment on sites like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. And then kind of make great money with like, it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the law of diminishing returns, right? Now, I'm not saying it's that way, but I'm just saying like I've found that sweet spot where I don't need to put that much energy or effort into it, but I'm making decent money and cash flow doing it every single month. So right now, currently, just to recap, I'm doing a little bit of coupon, a little bit of cashback sourcing to get quality products if I find them. I'm doing liquidation sourcing to, buy quality inventory in bulk, super cheap, and then just being patient, right? And listing it on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and letting it sell, and then recouping my profits, reinvesting that profits, scaling it into more inventory and stuff like that. So that's my own fulfillment. That's half of my business. And then the other half, I'm doing it more scalable on Amazon, right? So that's books a lot, especially right now, in textbook season and moving into Q4, and then obviously the other textbook season coming on the back end of Q4. It's a great time to get into books. I'm also doing retail website sourcing with Source Mogul, and I'm also scaling a lot of wholesale products. If you know anything about if you're in my course or you've communicated with me or anything on any level, you'll know that I stopped doing wholesale for a little bit. I'd scaled it up pretty significantly, but then quarantine hit, and so I scaled wholesale back a little bit because I didn't want to do all that fulfillment myself, right? I couldn't ship my products into FBA, so I wasn't gonna, I wasn't gonna fulfill like dozens and dozens, or if not hundreds of products every single day myself via wholesale, via Amazon FBM, so I scaled that back. But I'm in the process of rescaling that back up now that you can ship back into FBA, so that's my main goal right now. Like I said, books, retail website sourcing, and then wholesale's kind of scaling right there. But like I said, I'm still trying to find that sweet spot, maybe 5 to 10 grand a month profit, and that's a perfect sweet spot for me with like little time invested on my part. I kind of just have that streamlined, okay? Now, it would be irresponsible because I know of me to assume that things won't change, right? So I see those business models pretty much staying here for, the foreseeable future and a long time. That said, reselling is a changing game, right? It's very liquid. Things are constantly changing. And so while the strategy stays very, very similar, you do need to make micro adjustments because things are going to happen. You're going to need to kind of be able to constantly learn what's working right now and then make that slight adjustment so you can continue moving forward, right? And that's exactly why I always think that Online Arbitrage Pro, and once you get into it, is great for most people because, if not all people, obviously, because it's constantly changing, right? Like I don't just make one information product in the form of the course and then give it to you and our relationship is over. No, I'm constantly updating the course. I'm constantly relaunching it with new stuff. And if something else seems to be working better or something stops working, and obviously we're currently in the 5th version of the course, I'm going to completely redo the course, re-update it so that you get the latest and greatest information, okay? So that's my plans long-term for reselling. I just plan on, continuing what I'm doing while kind of keeping one eye and ear open to like what's working and what's changing slightly and making those micro adjustments. And then realistically, I plan on scaling wholesale up the most. It's the most scalable in my opinion because you can leverage Amazon FBA, you can leverage software to source, and you can leverage a lot of wholesale companies to ship into FBA for you. So it's really hands off. Once you get your cash flow going and you start doing it well, it's really, really hands off. You just have to focus on sourcing good inventory, not information, sourcing inventory, and building relationships with new wholesale suppliers. So it's a great way to do it. So that's my plan long term for reselling. Great question. Next question is, what are your thoughts on pirate ship for eBay, and are there any savings compared to USPS? Shipping discounts through eBay, are they pretty much the same in terms of pricing? So my thoughts on pirate ship are definitely use it. It's going to basically outline the differences and the discrepancies in pricing depending on which shipping option you go with, and it's going to outline all those shipping options and make it super easy for you to pick the cheapest option. So definitely use pirate ship, Charles. Highly recommend that you do that. Don't just, you can, and you get decent deals through eBay, but I would recommend going through pirate ship and just making sure it's super easy to use. And like I said, even if it saves you a couple dollars here and there on some items, that's going to really increase your profit margins and help you reinvest that money back in your business for, more quality inventory. And then you'll be able to scale exponentially faster doing it. So it might seem like little kind of, profits here and there. Worth it. Do it. Highly recommend it. Next question is, how do rebate checks work? I don't live in the US, and Rebate Key will only allow me to link my PayPal account after one check sent. Can I send it to my prep center? Can they use it? So that's a great question, Susanna. So in this aspect, when you're outside the US and you're doing it with Rebate Key, like you said, the benefit of that is they'll send it to your PayPal. So you don't have to be in the US. Although, like you did allude to, you do need to get that first check sent to you. So my recommendation there is find an address, right? Find a name, and then get the check, the very first check sent to a random name, a random address that obviously you know of, right? You can network with somebody in the group if you want to send the check to them. That's totally fine. There's a number of things to do it, but figure out an address, get your check sent to that address. The only caveat there is you're gonna lose that initial first check, right? So what I recommend for most people is you go into Rebate Key, and you order like the cheapest product, right? There's a couple of them, for example, there for like $5 or like $10 or something like that. So order one of those and then wait. And then obviously once your check is sent, then you can elect to go PayPal and you're only losing like $5 to $10. So realistically, kind of look at it from the outside of the US is like you're paying like a $5 to $10 initiation fee via your check that you're not gonna get. And then you have access to all their products going forward, even outside the US, because they're going to send it to your PayPal. So that's how I recommend that you approach that. That's always my recommendation for people when they're making like a second rebate key account, or they're outside the US. That's my recommendation for Rebate Key. If you need to go back and replay that segment of the video, do it. That's exactly how you should approach it, and that will be effective for you. But ultimately, use all the rebate sites, not just Rebate Key, because the other ones will send it immediately to your PayPal. Rebate Key, to my knowledge, is the only one that sends that initial first check. Just make sure that you only order one product with your initial check so that you can afford to obviously lose out on that money, and it's not that big of a deal, while obviously you're using the other rebate sites. And then once you're able to switch over to your PayPal, then you can scale Rebate Key up that way. Next question is, have you ever considered having a conference? So obviously I've asked a follow-up question to Deb here, and this is like an in-person conference, kind of like a seminar. So it has crossed my mind, obviously with everything going on in the world right now, it's not the best option, and maybe in the future, but right now, currently, I'm just enjoying creating content. I'm enjoying kind of helping people via the group. It is something that I've thought about and something that maybe I can explore in the future, but not anything I see on like the immediate horizon, if that makes any sense. Good question though. Definitely have thought about it. Next question is, what are the best or most preferred price trackers for eBay? So I actually don't really track, like if you're talking about competitor pricing, I probably should have asked a follow-up question here, so I'm not exactly sure what you're alluding to. But if you're talking about competitor pricing, the best way, honestly, is just doing the search and going to sold and completed and seeing what has sold. Now that said, there are two softwares in the actual eBay course where I forget the one software actually will outline your competitors, like if you're sourcing into getting a new product, and the other one will actually look at the competitors down the list of of products that are actually on eBay, how much inventory they have, what the prices are. So look into the eBay actual section in the course. And there's 2 softwares in there that are really going to help you out. So check that out. But if you're talking about price tracking for something else then and not your competitors, and just like maybe price tracking on like, eBay trends or something like that, again, a software in the course will actually help you do that. But if you're talking about something else specifically because you didn't really specify, then drop a comment or a question on this video and I'll answer it more in depth in the next one, okay? Next one is, currently my main business is focusing on coupon arbitrage. I'm using Mercari and I would like to expand eBay, as I'm confident this would boost how fast I can move my inventory. My main issue is that eBay has suspended me in the past indefinitely for drop shipping, and now I cannot ever sell back on the platform no matter how many accounts I make. I was wondering if you would know how to get out of this indefinite suspension. So it's really going to depend on what you were suspended for. If you, like you said, it's drop shipping, they used to take that seriously. They're starting to kind of pull back the reins on letting people back on eBay if enough time has elapsed. So my best recommendation for you would be to first of all, Google it, because there's like a certain section where you can actually like appeal, kind of like a plan of action on Amazon. It's not like a plan of action, but it's very, very similar. And something that worked for me to get in touch with eBay reps was I went to Facebook and I searched for eBay, and then I messaged eBay support on Facebook. So that will get you an answer realistically within like 24 to 48 hours. Explain your situation to them, explain how you've made drastic changes to your business, and you obviously realize now that you're not allowed to drop ship on eBay, that you have all this inventory yourself now, that you're going to do fulfillment from your own location and your own business. Explain the situation to them, explain that you won't do it again, and chances are they'll give you another chance to make things right. But that's my best suggestion for you there. Next question is, could you talk about prepping for Prime Day? So this is very similar to a question I got in the last week's Q&A. It's like, what are your thoughts and how are you preparing for Q4? To be perfectly honest, I'm not really doing anything else for Prime Day, a lot like I'm not really doing anything else for Q4. The only difference is like anticipate it kind of like a textbook season, right? Like that things are going to sell more on Prime Day and there's going to be higher sales velocity on Amazon. So potentially anticipate that ahead of time and order more products to have into FBA and have in your inventory to sell when Prime Day comes. That's the only real kind of change that I make, but I don't change my sourcing strategies. I don't change literally anything. I just potentially source more inventory. That's really the only way that I approach that. And that's actually the last question for this week's Q&A.